Hello again, this is Daniel back with another Book of the Week review. This week we're reviewing the title The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill, which is actually a 2-volume set that was written by Napoleon Hill back in 1928. So it's very old school wisdom, and it was the inspiration and later became the source for Think and Grow Rich, which is probably Napoleon Hill's most famous book. This book was written based on an interview, or was inspired by an interview that Napoleon Hill did with Andrew Carnegie, who, as you might know, was one of the richest men in America back in the 1900s. And Andrew Carnegie basically challenged Napoleon Hill to try and write the story of success, to uncover the formula that actually helps people to improve their life and to move ahead. And at that stage, I think that kind of idea was very groundbreaking. Today, we tend to think of that as quite normal to want to get ahead and improve ourselves, but back then I think it was something that was missing from society. So Napoleon Hill basically set out on this 20-year quest, if you like, to interview most of the successful men of that day, including people like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford and many, many others, to try and really uncover the essence of what it was that made them more successful than the average man, if you like. And throughout that 20 years, he created his own 16 laws of success. And I won't go through every single one of them, but there's a chapter on each, and it's basically like a little home study course in itself. And each has a lot of examples from history of the different ways that those lessons are used and those different ideas and basically those skills improve those people's lives and got them to the stage they're at. A couple of key ideas that I wanted to share with you from the book. One, probably the strongest one, and this is in Think and Grow Rich as well, is this idea of the definite chief aim, of actually having something in your life that's bigger than yourself, a goal or a purpose that you actually want to achieve over a long period of time. It's a very strong idea. The other big idea, and it starts off the book in this way, is talking about that concept of the mastermind, which is something, again, in Think and Grow Rich, where the idea of actually leveraging the knowledge and the wisdom of other people. And that's something that Napoleon Hill learned very early on from Andrew Carnegie, and that's essentially what Think and Grow Rich and the Law of Success books are about, is leveraging the knowledge and the wisdom of people who've gone the path before and actually using that to your advantage. There's a lot of great ideas in here about taking initiative in life and actually improving yourself from wherever you are, taking leadership if you can in whatever role you're in life. I think that's a very important point, something that he covers in great detail. The idea of imagination and creativity, it's something we hear a lot about today, about innovation and being an entrepreneur. I think back then it was a very groundbreaking concept, actually thinking outside the box and trying to look for how you could improve yourself. Very powerful ideas. The idea of self-control, so disciplining yourself to actually stay focused on something and concentrating on where you want to go until you actually achieve it. I think that's something that's especially relevant today because we have so many distractions and things to kind of take us off path. So I think that idea of concentrating and self-control is very, very powerful. The book, towards the end of the second volume, starts to talk a lot about overcoming adversity and failure, and there's some fascinating stories in there and some really powerful ideas to inspire you to actually keep going when you might feel a bit frustrated or a bit tired or getting a bit off course. So some really great ideas in here. A very interesting view of the world. It was written in, as I said, 1928, so it was just before the Great Depression hit, in sort of the end of that roaring 20s era when things were very optimistic and people were feeling great. And I think that it's interesting to see the perspective of what Napoleon Hill had and also people of that era. So very old school wisdom, as I said. Definitely worth reading if you're a fan of Napoleon Hill. If you've never read any Napoleon Hill, I'd probably recommend starting with Think and Grow Rich, trying this one as a secondary, like the main meal if you like, if that's the appetizer. It is very heavy going. Overall, I'm going to give these 2 volumes 5 stars because they were basically the source, the beginning of what became the self-help industry. So really, if you're into self-help or you're into old school wisdom or business, these 2 are a great place to go back to time and time again.